Hello, good morning, friends. Today we're going to discuss the next bits of remote login. So the next bit is out of band signaling. So what is out of band signaling? So a situation in which client and server are going to communicate between each other, and client is sending some information to the server, and suddenly, but server don't have the time to receive that information, and it is completely buffer, maybe full or some many situation in due to which the data cannot be received by the server. So in such situations the data may be get lost or just sending by the client. So to stop sending the further data to the server, we have a procedure called as client will going to set a bit called as dm, and that bit called is in a urgent pointer as we see in the data. So in the diagram, data kept, and then it is going to send that ip interpretation. ic is nothing but next data information sending, and data is discarded in this. So whatever data after dm is sending, before that it was been received, but before after that it has been discarded by the server. So such situation is nothing but the out of band signaling. So out of band is nothing but going to set a bit something called as urgent, and it is going to say that don't end the process of data in the same. So as we define in this explanation also, to make the control effective, some control characteristics effective, above features we all last class discussed that control characters features. So those features to effective, the telnet uses out of band signaling, one of them. And out of band signaling control the character are preceded by ICA and are sent to the remote process. After telnet embeds the sequence in the data stream and then insert a special character called as DM, that is data mark, to inform the TCP segment that urgent pointer bit is set, and urgent pointer pointing to the DM characters. When the receiving process receives the data, it reads the data and discards any data preceding the control characters. The DM characters is used as a synchronization character, and that switch the receiving the process and urgent mode and normal mode to and desynchronized to ends. Okay, so as I discussed it already. So next bit is escape character. So what is escape character? Suppose you don't want to send some information from source to sender, so you use escape character. Then in this escape character, it automatically stop the information sending from source to the destination. So this diagram has been shown. In this diagram you can see comparison. The client want to send some information and suddenly it interrupt itself, so the data which is sending from source to destination has been stopped by the escape character. Okay, there are some mode of operations, some special modes which are being accepted from the control characteristics, or special modes which are used. Default mode, character mode, and line mode. There are three different types of modes, mode of operations. So what is default mode? Is used by user if no other mode is invoked through the option negotiation. Suppose we have a lot of options discussed for the telnet. So in that mode, if not any option is defined, so it will be by default mode is used. So it is done, echoing is done by this client, and the user types a character and the client echoes the character on the screen and does not send until the whole line is completed. So in this default mode, suppose you have typed some information, it's not going to be send it. So it will send only when the complete line has been written, and then only it going to send it, and it will be accepted by go ahead command. And if this go ahead command is not given in permission, then it will not going to send the information. And this type of connection is half duplex. Even the TCP uses the full duplex connection. This is worst case. So we have this example. So in this example you can see for the default mode, so client and server exchanging some information, go ahead. So it will terminate the type terminal type speed and then login. After that login we have given the password, and after finally it going to accept some file. So this is the situation. So the pink line gives that go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. So it is given some name, login, password, and all those things. After that finally it is connected with that particular thing, and then it's going to accept the next request. Character mode. In this mode, each character is typed and is sent to the client, to the server. So in this character only single data is sent from source to the destination. In this character echoing is done by character can be delayed if the transmission time is too long. So what it also create overhead for the network, because the three TCP connection segments can be sent each time for the to create a connection. So the user enters a character that is sent to the server. The server acknowledges the received character and echoes the character back. and the client acknowledge the client recipient of the echo character. Next is line mode. To overcome the communication of both client and sorry, to overcome the communication of numbers of default and character, we have third is line mode. So line mode uses the full duplex communication to send the data and receive the data from the source and destination. What is next? That is next is user interface. So what is user interface? So we have seen default modes, different types of modes which are used to send this information and receive the information, but actually this is not properly communication taken between the with the help of the telnet. We have to use some commands to directly open and close two commands, so which is very user friendly with the clients. So some commands has been shown here, that is open, close, display, mode, set, status, and quit. So these are the commands which are used by the user interface while communication between the server and client. Some security issues with the telnet. So telnet suffers from security problems, although telnet requires a login name, password. Often it is very enough, not enough. So the microcomputer connected to the broadcast line can easily envious user sniffer software and capture the login name and corresponding password used by the communication between client and server. So it is much not secure with the help of the telnets. So we will stop. The next bit is secure shell. So SSH. The secure shell is a remote login application, uses TCP as underlying transport protocol. So it is also similar protocol like telnet, but telnet is less secure. So due to which we are not use telnet much. So instead of that, we use SSH, which is more secure and provide services better than telnet. So there are two versions of SSH, SSH1 and SSH2. The first version is deprecated because of some security flaws in it, and we are studying the SSH2. So some components of SSH. So the actually component of SSH is lies in everything in your application layer, and it uses the transport layer protocol TCP for communication. So we will discuss all these components. So first component of the SSH is SSH trans, SSH authentication, SSH connection, SSH applications. So these are the main four components of SSH. The what these four components, so we will discuss in detail. So first we will discuss with SSH transport layer protocol. So actually SSH trans, that is, so TCP is a secured, not a secure transport layer protocol. So first SSH uses a protocol that creates a secure channel on the top of the TCP. So it creates a secure channel that is called as SSH trans on the layer of TCP IP. So this is a new layer independent protocol referred as to as SSH trans. So list of services provided by this protocol. So first up, service, what service provides, it's privacy and confidential of message exchange. So whatever the messages we are exchanging between the client and server, it will be confidential. Second, data integrity, which means it is guaranteed that the message exchanged between client and server are not changed by the intruder. So in between any one of the client hacker may hack the information, that will be not happen in this SSH protocol when we are using. So server authentication, which means that client is now secure, that server is one of that can claim to be. So okay, server authentication, which means that client is not so sure that server is one of that to be claimed. The comparison of message that improve the efficiency of the system and makes attack more difficult. Okay, suppose if third person is want to attack in between the client and server, so it is very difficult to him to attack and get the information of that particular data. So next is nothing but SSH authentication process. So it will, as the name says, authentication, so it will be verify the client and server authentication first. After secure channel, it is established between client and server authenticated for the client. The SSH call another software that can authenticate client from the for the server. So it will be going to verify that client is secure or genuine or not. So next is SSH connection protocol. So after the secure connection, Secured channel it is established between established and both server and client are authenticated for each other. The SSH can call a piece of software that implement third protocol SSH con, and one of the services provided by the SSH con protocol is to do multiplexing. So SSH con takes secure channel established between two previous protocols and lets client create a multiple logical channels over it. So it will be select one of that channel between to communicate between source and destinations. So this is the SSH con. Last is SSH application. After the connection phase is completed, SSH allows several application program to use this connection, and the application can create a logical channel as I described above, and then brief this connection, secure connection. In other words, the remote login is one of the services that can use SSH con protocol. Other applications such as file transfer application can use one of the logical channel for this purpose. So we will brief all this complete. So we have four protocols: SSH transaction, which is used to provide us a better communication protocol, which is protect from our third party or from the hackers to uh, destroy our data or to hack our data. That is one of the thing. And SSH authentication is going to authenticate whether it is real or not. After that, we have SSS connection, which is going to create a logical connection between us with the multiple, with the help of multiplexing. There are a lot of multiple channels. We will choose one of the multiple one of the channel to secure communication between this. And SSH, we have different application, like we can use the remote connection with this protocol. So after going to this, we have next called as port forwarding. So SSH protocol is provides port forwarding. We can use the secure channel available in SSH to access the application program that does not provide secure services. So port forward, what is actually port forwarding means it going to create a tunnel between the client and server to do the secure communication between source and destination. So from the example we will see that, you can see here. So what port forwarding is doing, the port forwarding is doing client, it going to get this SSH protocol, and from there it going to create a secure communication channel. Through this channel it will going to communicate with the server, and finally server telnet server will going to access the information. So whatever the data is exchanged between, it is passes through this secure tunnel, that is port forwarding. So last bit is packet format of SSH. There are the 5 bits has been defined for the packet format when you exchange some information: length, padding, type, data, and CRC. So length is nothing but field define the length of the packet, including type, data, and the CRC field, but not padding and the length field. Padding is 8-bit padding field added to the packet that makes attack on secure provisions more difficult. Type is defines the type of packet as user by SSH protocol. Data is variable length, so the length of the data can be found deducting the 5 bytes from the value of the value of the length field. So CRC, redundancy check field is error detections वगैरह. So length is nothing but is going to define the length of that particular complete packet. Padding is nothing but additional information. Type is going to define the type of the packet protocol. Data is nothing but the which is data which is going to send from source and destination. And CRC for checking the information is correct, the packet is having the correct value or not. If it is not, then it is say that the packet has been hacked or some information like that. So okay, so this finishes our SSH protocol and the whole chapter also of remote login. Thank you for listening me.